师父上人，各位师兄大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to the Sutra lecture this afternoon. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Monday, the 11th of November here on the Gold Coast of Queensland, and I'm glad you're with us. Let's see here. Okay, excellent. 欢迎各位参加我们华严经佛学讲座我们马上就开始了。So we're going to get started right away. We have, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to ring the bell 3 times, going to make 3 half bows, and then invite Xie Tingting to request Dharma from Nanjing. 我先敲眼镜3下，就行3个我心里，然后呢，我们就请Xie Tingting居士帮我们请法。Okay, are we ready? Let's do 3 half bows. Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. How the 学听听你愿意请法你现在可以开始。
恭请大德圣听，为此法会集一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，殊证无生。为了三个为国而成 of compassion for the sake of the assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma world to teach us how to live suffering and temperance and humble standards and quickly realize their worth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sanmyao samputtoshe.
Namo sadanto suchetoye alakadi samyao samputtoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿觉如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，阿弥陀佛，感恩。Thank you for the Dharma request. We will now invoke the presence of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the Avatamsaka Assembly, the Dharma protectors. Invite them to come and shed their light on everyone. 现在迎请天龙八部护法三神保护华严海会佛菩萨来放大光明，主持各位。 And further, we would like to acknowledge the Pomo people who practiced spiritual connections to the earth and all creation here in the Ukiah Valley, their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. Today, we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。And I have a beautiful bell here. I'll try not to ring it too loudly. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内佛法扬万亿国中，共训起法界和平，利益报他诺护德。Okay, well done there. Well done. Can I say that about myself? No, I can say it's done. There we go. I hope everybody appreciates my peanut gallery that connect the local critics who are very up on the quality of their Dharma lectures and demand nothing but the best for their youth, right? This is a couple parents and their offspring. These 3 friends, I saw them just 2 hours ago, right down by Guanyin Pusa. 我的荧幕上就一家代书，就有公有母有孩子，他们在那儿旁听。我是2个小时前看他们就在观音菩萨这个像前边在那儿躺着睡。Yo, okay. Now let's see. We have today 已经有超过100多位来参加今天的法会。你们是在加州没有改变时间有改变时间，就是1个小时后。我们在亚洲这里也是1个小时后，1点半开始如果是中国的话，台湾的话，新加坡、马来西亚、香港，就是11点半开始。Okay. So let's see. Heng Sure is our co-host here, and also Xue Tingting, who is requesting Dharma from Nanjing. Chen Weihua is our co-host at City of 10,000 Buddhas. And we have friends listening in from Oroville, Washington, Paris, France. Barb and Ernie are in Ukiah. Binxin is in Shanghai. Bob and Fran are in Lawton Valley. Celeste's in Hong Kong. Lin Changqing's in Newbury Park. Chi Wu's in, okay, Chi, glad you're here. Santa Rosa, hope you can enjoy. Let's see here. And Choi Hon Kit is in Singapore. Yi Chung Hee is in Los Angeles. Guo Chung Yi is in LA as well. Connie's here. You were at Redwood Vihara earlier, like many of us. CTDB Live is online. Guo Ji and Guo Kuk are in Bordeaux, France. Welcome to the lecture today. Mindy is somewhere. Daisy's in Taipei. Daniel's in Portland. Edward's at his iPad. Edwin is in Kuala Lumpur. Elaine. One's in San Jose, one's somewhere else. Elizabeth is here with us. Hi, Liz. Let's see here. Then Guo Dianxin is in Liaoning. Grace is in Cupertino. Glad you're here. Zhao Dongfang is in Vancouver. Gwen's in Dublin, Ohio, University Town. Let's see here. Then we have friends from Alameda, Columbia City, Oregon, Guangzhou, Berkeley, Northern California, Seattle, Shandong, Beijing, Union City, Seattle. We're all over the place. Lingfeng, welcome. See you tomorrow. Maggie and Billy are back home already from, maybe they're in the car driving home after cleaning up at Redwood Vihara. Michelle is in Calgary. Min Lee's in Bothell, Washington. Mingrong is in Guangzhou, Chen Mingrong. Ron is in San Jose. Sylvia is in Seattle. Tan is in DRBU. Tony is here. Hi, welcome. Glad you're here. Tran is here. Doesn't say where. Tam from Ukiah. Willie from Virginia. Yendo is from Vietnam. Okay, welcome. Let's see here. Ding Yu Qing. Ding Yu Qing is in here from Vancouver. And Yvonne from Malaysia. And Jen from Santa Barbara. Okay, that's all. I think probably folks from the Western Hemisphere outnumber the other half of the planet. Let's see here. We have Taipei, Shinjapo, Hayonari. Let's see. Kaifeng, Beijing, Baotou-shi, Shanghai, Harbin, Hangzhou, Liaoning. Let's see. 还有什么地方？北京、吉林、黑龙江、深圳、包头、辽宁、北京、哈尔滨、沿海。浙江 ，OK， 好的，欢迎黑龙江、安徽、苏州、新北市陕西宝鸡 ，OK， 黑龙江、福建、泉州 ，OK， 江先生，哈尔滨、黑龙江、北京、吉林哪里？河北唐山 ，OK， 河北黄冈，Let's see here， 苏州、镇江。OK， 还有，哇，人来了，比我可以念的还来得快。哎呀 ，Let's see here， 辽宁，还有呢，什么地方？呼和浩特、内蒙古，深圳、台北、哈尔滨、广西，哦，欢迎，广西，海南、新疆、西雅图、北京、西雅图。跑到后边 ，OK， 黑龙江、吉隆坡、广东、深圳、上海、黑龙江 and 台北市 ，OK， 非常欢迎各位 ，OK，welcome everybody, glad you are here. Now, we have a very interesting situation in our sutra, which is that bodhisattvas are making 31 kinds of dedications, 31 kinds of wishes and prayers, you could call them, sending out from their heart. And the interesting thing is that each of these 31, and we did, 5 last week? 5 of the 31, they all contain in them the phrase 可爱要, lovable, enjoyable, pleasant, delightful. 4 different ways that we can translate that phrase. And when you come to the Buddha Dharma, people are ready for things like suffering, they're ready for things like bitter, they're ready for things like vigorous and strenuous and patience required. Not very often when you come to the Buddha Dharma and we get told that bodhisattvas are interested in being adorable or creating lovable situations. That's pretty rare. It's a rare phrase, but there it is. Take a look. You don't believe me? Think, oh, he just translates funny. No, take a look. They dedicate their good roots tirelessly and then make the following dedications. Here it is right here. Take that. Look at that one. 得诸如来可爱要见. That they get the Tathagata's absolutely adorable points of view. Now, it doesn't have to be translated that way. It could be translated as enjoyable, right? Pleasant. But it's each one of these phrases, as we looked last week, has a different context. So is it something that your eyes look at and you go, that's so just adorable, like a puppy video? Or is it that the state that it provokes inside you brings that you're appreciating not the physical beauty, but the perfection, maybe, the compassion, and it stimulates part of your value system that you identify as being lovely, just sublime, superb. It's not clear, and each one is different. So if I were the translator of this passage, and I'm not, I would keep probably all four of our translations available. What were they? Let's see. We had adorable, lovable, enjoyable, delightful, pleasing. Somebody came up with winsome and pleasant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different possible translations of this phrase 可爱要, 可爱乐, right? 可爱要. I think some of you probably will translate it as le, others as yao. Either way, the Chinese works pronunciation both ways. So, pleasing, winsome, pleasant. These are all happy experiences. The Chinese literally able to love and delight in, and happy making. Look, let's use that one just because it happy making makes you happy. Makes you happy. 可爱要, okay? Makes you pleased, pleases you. Okay, there's another one. It pleases you. Okay? So, 我就说有31个菩萨的回向愿，31个，每一个都有可爱要这个字啊。一般呢，我们像佛教，哎呀，就是苦啊，就是离苦哦，就3苦、8苦、无量诸苦，哎呦，都要打起精神，都要忍着，都要精进。就这样子，这些话呢，我们就习惯了。很少有菩萨有31次希望众生可以有深刻爱要的境界，就是这个。那怎么解释呢？我刚刚讲说，英语如果翻译可爱要，已经有6、7个不同的字，也可以用就是我觉得，在这31次菩萨发这个回向愿，不是单单一个，就是不是单单欢喜，好欢喜，这个是有不同，稍微不同，那个微细的不同，所以我们翻译看看，我们遇到一种很喜欢的清醒的话，我们的可以说脑子里边在哪里就发光，哪里亮起来。等一下，我解释。Okay, I'm getting past my ability to say it in Chinese, so I want to go slowly enough so that I can communicate what I think are the differences here. Are we ready to jump in? Yes, we are, Dharma Master. Okay, let's do it. Here it is, starting right there. 愿一切众生得善知识，可爱要一眼，见无所爱。May all living beings obtain the delightful eyes of a good spiritual teacher, which see without obstruction. Okay, I think that's an accurate translation. What does the Bodhisattva want to have happen because of his or her transference? I want living beings, and if we were stating it as prayer language, we would say may. Like Mr. Spock, may it be so. May all living beings get. Okay, that's the verb right there. Get. So the Bodhisattva sends out a wish, and behind that wish is the goodness that they want to give. They're sharing. the shangan, the goodness that they've created. They want living beings to get what? Yan, eyes. What kind of eyes? 可爱要, lovable eyes. Is it only eyes? It's, in this case, yes. What kind? 善知识 eyes. Kalyana Mitra eyes. I want living beings who receive my dedication to be able to look through the eyes of a good and wise friend, 见无所爱, and see things that are unobstructed, see through all obstructions. Eyes that don't stop with things that are designed either through gaslighting or very expensive, highly paid political advertisements meant to delude and to misinform, etc., whatever. Eyes that see the way things are. Let's move away from contentious things. Here's an example. One of my favorite stories. Let me first translate that much, and then I'll tell a story. 就说菩萨发华回向的愿，说我愿所有一切众生得到东西，得到什么呢？得到眼。什么样的眼？就是眼睛。什么样的眼睛呢？可爱要的眼睛。怎么样呢？可爱要的眼睛呢？善知识的可爱要的眼睛。这是菩萨发这个回向愿，有这种希望。我先用功，就好像昨天在这里，在澳大利亚有17位新的佛弟子皈依三宝。这个17位呢，有孩子，有壮年人，有老年人，有男有女，有西方人，有东方人。17个人当中，17个人之中，也有好像6位受五戒，受戒律。这些善知识的眼睛，希望众生得到善知识的可爱要的眼睛。这些眼睛怎么样呢？见无所爱，看到东西不会迷惑。如实看得见，就是有什么的确的情形，善知识可爱要的眼睛都会看到。希望众生就受到这个。有一个故事。So again, I want living beings to get eyes. What kind of eyes? Good spiritual teachers' eyes, which are able to see through deception. They are able to see through smoke screens. They are able to see through deliberate distortions of the truth for political gain based on greed. Okay? That those eyes are not fooled by it. What's the story? Do you know that we have a city in the United States called Las Vegas, Nevada, called America's Playground, America's Happy Place. And by golly, it speaks Dharma. That name speaks Dharma. Because why? It's happy briefly, but not for long. There's a reason. Start over with that. One episode in my formative years as a monk happened in 1976, the year I became a bhikshu. 1976 was the centennial, the bicentennial? Centennial, yeah, bicentennial. 200th birthday of America. We'd been a country for 200 years. If 1776 was the signing of the Declaration of Independence, America has been a country for 200 years. So during that year, Greyhound bus lines had a special promotion. You could buy an Ameripass. And the Ameripass, as long as you didn't go to the same city twice, you could travel. Was it travel for free? That doesn't sound right. What was it? $50? I forget how the deal went. But as long as you kept going forward and you didn't go back and forth, that would be an abuse of the system. Long as you kept moving forward, you were able to travel $100. Was that it? I guess that was it. $100. Travel around the country as long as you kept moving. So they wanted to increase the number of people riding buses. So for that reason, Master Hua Shifu told the former Bhikshu Hongguan and Bhikshu Hong Kong and myself to get on the Greyhound bus and go to New York. And Bhikshu Hong Yo went also. There were four of us. So we did that. We traveled $100, traveled to New York, traveled to Washington, came around to Texas, visiting friends. And on the way home, we stopped in Las Vegas because Bhikshu Hong Kong had grown up in Las Vegas. That's where his family was. So, because it was lunchtime and we needed some food, we tried the buffet inside the Sands Casino, was it? One of the casinos. And because they have open buffet, 24 hours, all you can eat. And as long, because they figure once you're in the casino, you'll be spending money and gambling. Of course, we were monks. We didn't gamble, but we did eat. So we went in and got some food. And I remember seeing the sign as we came into town, America's Playground, a happy place, where the family is happy in Las Vegas, is said. And we had to go past the slot machine section of the casino on the way to the buffet. And I remember being struck by the sight of elderly women wearing work gloves on their hands, holding a coffee can in the other hand. And in the coffee can were quarters, 25-cent pieces, which was what you used to operate the slot machine. And these are the 25-cent slots. There were other slot machines. And the women there was more than one, there was a group of them. That was why it was so striking. And they went down the row rapidly, dropping quarters in the slot, pulling the handle, dropping a quarter in the slot, pulling the handle, dropping a quarter in the slot, pulling the handle, dropping a quarter in the slot, pulling the handle down the row. And 3 slot machines back hit a jackpot, but the woman who was operating them paid no attention. She was only interested in pulling as many handles as possible. And one of the staff attendants had to go tap her on the shoulder and say, "Lady, you got to go pick up your quarters. They're on the floor. You struck a jackpot." And she's like, "Oh." And I saw her face, and her eyes were absolutely dead. There was no joy at getting a payoff from one of the machines. She was completely in the grip of gambling fever. And she was getting some sort of a dopamine hit from the action of, maybe I'll hit it lucky this time, pulling every handle. And even when she hit it lucky, it was no joy. There was no happiness to be found, because the illness of greed for striking it rich was so that had grabbed her bones. The marrow of her bones was no longer happy. And seeing that example, it occurred to me that it was symptomatic of gambling as what's wrong with gambling, because at the heart of it, there is something poisonous, something afflicting, which is greed. And the Buddha said that greed is like a poison. And because we want more, when we get something, there's no joy. The act of greed poisons the actual organic happiness of getting what we seek. So it's fascinating to see how, if this is America's playground, there's something fundamentally poisoned at the heart of this action. So never forget those grannies with their gloves on, because they pulled the slot machine handle so many times their hands would get bloody if they didn't wear a glove. They would just the collateral damage that comes from the thought of getting that turns toxic and poisonous. So what do the delightful eyes of a good spiritual teacher? They're able to see through that false story that it's America's happy place. Certainly it turns sour once greed arises. So we hope living beings will have the delightful eyes of good and wise advisors who hear that promise and go, oh yes, but it's so easy to have greed ruin everything. So I think I'll stay home. Thanks. We'll do Christmas. The Christmas party is going to be at the monastery this year. We're going to do a Amitabha session. Yeah, and really pay off that way. 就说有一年去 Las Vegas，就是1976年，那个时候是美国200年的国庆。我们回购公司回购这个大巴士，那个公司说100块钱你可以就继续用那个票叫 Ameripass，就不回头，不去一个城市，不去2次，就一个城一次，你可以继续走100块，就可以用不完了，这样子1年。那我航关、航空还有另外一位忘了是哪一位，航务吧，我们4个人就去纽约、去华盛顿、去德州一些地方，回来经过 Las Vegas。Las Vegas 是赌博王国，在美国 Las Vegas Nevada， 航空的爸爸就住那里，他长大就在那个地方。就我们他不要听错了，我们并不是去赌博，我们就要吃饭。那个赌博亭呢就免费有自助餐，所以我们就下巴士就进去吃饭。经过那个 I don't know how do you say slot machine in Chinese? Can somebody type it in? We call them the one-armed bandit. 都是独背贼。这个机器你放钱拉那个把子，它就你如果3个樱桃 here it is. I knew somebody's quick. It's called a 老虎机是吗？老虎机好像对的，是的，老虎机，谢谢。OK， 老虎机，它会吃你的钱，经过哪里啊？就要去那个自助餐那个餐厅，要经过老虎机一大堆，好几百个。注意了，那边有个现象，本来 Las Vegas 有个 名称是说什么？全国的乐园 ，The America's Playground， 就是美国的去玩的一个乐园，可爱要一个地方，就这么说，就是广告这么说全家娱乐界，就这么说。奇怪呢，那个现象我亲眼看到的并不是愉快，是什么？有一些老太太都白头发，应该是60、70、80岁都有，手里戴着手套，手上戴了手套，就是劳工的手套，耐用，很厚的。左手呢有一个那个咖啡粉的一个罐头。里边充满什么的？25块钱的这个零钱 ，25 cent coins 就在那儿。这些老太太怎么做呢？就从一行开始，把那个25块放进去，拉把子放进去，拉了放进去，拉那个把子放进去，拉把子，就使用这些老虎机，走下去很快，蹦拉这样子呢。就再过4个，已经经过第4个，出了钱了，哇，赢了，叭3个樱桃啊，3个苹果啊，3个柠檬，咚咚咚，哦，声音出来了，那个钱出来了，可是那个老人呢，一点都不注意，他就是继续拉，走，必须要有一个服务员在。点他的肩背说：“对不起，老家，你这边是你的钱呢，已经出来了，你成功了，你赢了嘛，你去收吧。”他就眼睛死亡了，眼睛都没有光明，他就点头了。哦，有吗？好，然后他去收那个25块钱，放在那个罐头里面，继续拉。可以看到那个老年人一点都不快活，一点都不可爱要。他因为被这个那个赌博的毒就给毒坏了，哦，真的可怕，可怜哈，真的，你可以从那个老年人，我们可能看到有20几位，因为老虎机在那儿，就一行，每一行都有这些。白头发的老女人在那儿拉。为什么戴着手套呢？因为拉那个把子太多次，手会受伤了，真的是可怜得很。可以看到什么呢？毛病在哪里？就是贪毒、贪心作怪。佛没说贪嗔痴就是毒。这些老年人被毒坏了，哦，本来你放进去拉了成功了，你赢了应该开心，一点都不是，因为他们要赌，这样子呢，就被那个病毒就给毒坏了，赌博的病毒。真的，我就说哦，那个 America's Playground 美国的乐园呢，那果然呢是假的，所以我们菩萨就说愿一切众生得善知识的可爱要一眼，见无所爱。听到 Las Vegas 那边是全家的乐园，应该说哦，那个是个就名不副其实了对不对 ？OK， 愿一切众生常见一切可爱要物，无有违逆。May all living beings always see delightful things that are never displeasing to the eye. How interesting. Obviously, so here's the spirit of this one. The Bodhisattva vows, with their payoff of goodness, that those who receive the blessing of their dedication vow will have a change in the values of their internal chemistry, their sight apparatus, so that even things that are not delightful will still please them. Does that sound right? That doesn't sound right, does it? So if you see starvation, you're happy about it? No, that's not how it works. It's that they can always turn states towards goodness. It's got to be that way. Otherwise, they would be profoundly unreal. They would everything they see, that's again, the word is gaslighting. They're lied to and intentionally deceived. So, or Pollyanna-ish, that things that are truly awful, they see it as happy. No, I don't think so. It's not that way. 这不是说第二个愿，今天就说希望众生都有一种奇怪的思想，就说真的可怕的东西，他们一看了就会快乐吗？不是这个，就是说他们有这种的群善属阳，就说无论在不好的境界，都转凶为吉，就是这样子，转凶为吉。There's a Chinese idiom that fits it perfectly. They can always find a silver lining. They can turn what is disastrous into something wholesome by the quality of their yang, wholesome goodness. Okay? That would be quite a skill, wouldn't it? Somebody who is the unsinkable Molly Brown. Remember that one? Yep. She's able to turn nastiness into goodness simply by the goodness of her heart. 愿一切众生正得一切可爱要法而亲护持. May all beings realize delightful dharmas, diligently protecting and upholding them. Okay. Want to see something delightful that requires upholding? I want to show people something that is that way. Let's see, I've got to, bring this up. Give me a moment. Okay, we went recently to Wutaishan in Shanxi province. We found an absolutely remarkable monastery called Foguang Si. Not Foguangshan, Foguang Si. Foguang Si is at the gateway to the 5 peaks of Wutaishan, and it's a monastery that is intact from the Tang Dynasty. It was first built before the Tang, and somehow this place survived all of the vicissitudes of time, and it emerged intact. Now, give me a moment to get the story straight. I haven't heard the entire story. We'll take a look. 就说可爱要物又要护持它。我们刚刚在山西省去五台山朝山，在五台山的门前，还没到五台中台那里，你经过一个叫佛光寺。这个佛光寺是唐朝前的一个完整的道场 等一下，我想知道那个真正的故事。Where does the story? Okay, 佛光寺 Pagoda. There it is. Let's get the story. Okay. The history of it here. Okay. 7 earthquakes, 54 kinds. It's on a tentative list for UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay. Yeah, I'm not finding what I was expecting to find here. There is a story that I did not get the whole details, and so I don't want to say things that I have to correct myself later. Okay, here's the story that I heard. The story goes that, there we are. The story that I heard was that a couple of Chinese temple architecture experts were looking in China for an example of authentic Tang Dynasty Buddhist architecture. And they assumed that there were none. They had all been either damaged during earthquakes or fires or the Cultural Revolution or something. But someone said, and there is Jinwei Shi taking a picture. Someone said, we have found one. It is Foguangsi in Taishan's periphery. And so they went to look, and sure enough, here was an absolutely intact Buddhist monastery. And the images inside have an incredible, untouched Tang Dynasty flavor to them. Notice the bodhisattvas, the images are, okay, done. The images are round-cheeked. They're painted, not gilded. Here is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Look at the attendants around them. These images are incredibly wonderful. And the restoration, here's the Dharma protector. The restoration is keeping it intact. There was dust on the images. The Chinese government does a wonderful job of making parks, and when they decide to invest in a cultural heritage for people to enjoy, they do a beautiful job of it. This monastery is not that way. It is, I don't want to say raw, it's just incredibly authentic. Look at the images, look at the quality. So this is something 可爱要护持, right? 可爱要物. Look at the dana, the offering, bodhisattva here. So just amazing. And it seemed like there was no big deal. And we walked up. You have to go very steep stairs to get there. And it's just spectacular. Incredible place. You really feel like you've stepped back in time. 就说佛光寺在五台山的门前有唐朝前的建筑物，唐朝前的佛菩萨像，还有壁画，还有这个建筑。这个地方是很特别，很特别。中国政府保护它已经 用了不少的钱，可是方法呢，他们并没有把它改成现代化，他们保持那个原始的境界。你看这个罗汉，各有不同的相貌，各有不同的国家国籍，不一样了。这个地方佛光寺真的是很奇妙的一个地方。Okay, there it is again. Let's see here. Here is 文殊师利菩萨。你看文殊菩萨，唐朝的，他们不贴金，他们就上油。Incredible. 所以要护持这个地方，你看管理狮子的。Beautiful. This was spectacular, and we just because our Dharma friend who took us there said you really can't miss Fo Guang Si. We said, well, it's kind of late in the afternoon. You sure you want to go? He says, yes, you want to go there. 我们带我们到佛光寺的佛友，他说今天天已经快黑了，可是你们要去。我们说，哎呀，真的需要吗？他说要去。OK， 好。我们跟着他去，刚好。我们如果没有去的话，真的 ，Look at 文殊师利菩萨 ，beautiful， 可爱要物，对不对？Okay, there we go. So， 菩萨真的，他说。愿一切众生常见一切可爱要物，无有违逆。May all beings always see delightful things that are never displeasing to the eye. May all beings realize delightful dharmas, diligently protecting and upholding them. 正得一切可爱要法，而勤护持。对了，愿一切众生与一切佛可爱，Let's see。一切佛可乐法众不一样了，得尽光明，不是可爱要，可乐法中，或者呢有没有写错了？May all beings attain pure brilliance within the Buddha's delightful dharmas. Yeah, may it be so. May beings attain pure brilliance. So, the Buddha's delightful dharmas, there's an idiom, there's a Chinese idiom that goes, how does it, somebody can correct me, it goes, 苦尽甘来, how does it go? 苦后甘来。就说你受苦受完了，你就有甜。那个成语是什么 ？Okay, you guys are fast， 你们好快。就说苦尽甘来，对的，苦尽甘来，没有错。好的 ，Okay， 林峰 ，you're quick， good。Okay， 苦尽甘来。So, this is 可是不是爱要法 or 可乐法中得尽光明。After and amid or during the cultivation of dharmas, that you obtain pure, bright light. Okay? There are, it's, if you use the, that example of gambling, that's an example of 甘尽苦来, right? There's this promise that, oh, Lady Luck will smile on me and I'm going to get rich. I'll strike it rich. And so many people do not. The house always wins, they say. So, yet we are living beings are 颠倒. That's the truth of us, our species. We, have this view that this time for sure. And we lose it. We lose. In Australia, there's a common saying that Australians are a gambling culture. Australian culture, people like to gamble. And you can be surfing through YouTube looking for Dharma resources, and an advertisement will come up for double sports betting, and then there's a screen at the end that says, wouldn't you rather be doing something else with your money? So you can, the Ladbroke company that sponsors all this gambling has to have a disclaimer at the end. There's a variety of them. Wouldn't you rather be doing something else with your money? And there's another one that goes, most often you lose. Things like that. So it's very interesting that these, kind of like the Surgeon General's warnings on the packages of cigarettes that we used to be a big deal. Likewise, the Australian social media is also warning Australian citizens that gamblers lose mostly. And yet, we living beings think, no, this time for sure, this time I'll strike it rich. 这个软苦为乐，大家知道这个法呢，这个成语嘛哈，佛教里边的成语，就说我们众生是颠倒，看到真的很苦的东西，我们也会认为看它就说，哎，这是其实很快乐，这次一定会发财，所以去赌钱。澳大利亚这个文化呢，这个人间有偏于赌博多的一个文化，这里就是有这么一个说法，就说澳大利亚人喜欢赌钱。你在 YouTube 那里就要看佛教的东西了，这个我们自己的讲法就插进去是什么广告？这个广告是什么？是 Ladbroke， 他们是赛马的公司就是举办这个赛马的活动，一个公司，他们要登广告，就在 YouTube 那里。这个广告就说，哎，我们可以一次赌钱可以第一、第二名的马，你一样可以得到了。然后那个广告过了之后，还有最后一幕，最后一幕怎么说呢？就说赌钱的人多数失去 ，the house 常常赢了 ，the house 就说公司赌博的公司或者赌博厅，多数呢是赢的，赌钱的人多数是输了。还有他们有不同的，他们就说你这笔钱你不是想另外用吗？如果你知道你要赌的这笔钱可以买到多少东西吗？他们最后一幕就这么说的，意思是警告你那个钱多数就拜拜就走了所以可以常常看到那个然苦为乐，我们明明知道这个钱都会走了，我们一样去，哎呀，这次就发财了好哇 Luck be a lady tonight, luck be a lady tonight, luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with, luck be a lady tonight, luck let a gentleman see how nice a doll you can be. I know you've cheated all the other guys you've been with. Luck be a lady with me. Right? What's that from? Name that tune. Anybody know? I bet you Ling Feng can't name that one. That's from Guys and Dolls. Oh, yeah. A lady wouldn't cheat her escort. That isn't fair. That isn't nice. A lady wouldn't make little snake eyes at me when I've bet my life on this roll. So, Lady Luck. Yep, she's fickle. Okay, so we need to attain pure brilliance within the Buddha's delightful dharmas so that it shows up, the truth shows up, and we're not deluded by the surface pizzazz, by the dazzle. 愿一切众生修诸菩萨，一切能舍可爱要心。May all living beings cultivate Bodhisattva's delightful attitudes of renouncing everything. The Bodhisattva's delightful mind of, it's not a mind, it's not a heart. We used to translate it as a heart of doing that. No, it's an attitude that we can let go. We really can let go. And it's, there's wisdom there. Moms, skillful moms in the grocery store, the kid is in the cart and the kid they're just little appetites, little animal appetites in the baby, that maybe 2 years old, maybe 3 years old, maybe older even. And they see something, a package that catches their eye, and they want it and they can't let it go. And the skillful mom is able to take something equally shiny and run it past the baby's eyes, and the baby gets interested in that and drops the thing that they were attached to. And so they can go on down. I've always admired moms who, because of their love for their child and because of their skill, they don't get upset or afflicted when the child is doing something outrageous and shrieking and crying the way I would. I want to give the kid a smack. And the mom is able to use knowledge of the child's psychology or greed and distract it skillfully so there's no violence, no harm to the child. The child is simply a elementary organism. It's just, basically it's a single cell like an amoeba, and it reacts to pain and pleasure. So you evoke the pleasure and you don't have to give it pain. So renouncing everything. Sometimes bodhisattvas are skillful at giving you something to distract you, invoking another kind of greed to prevent you from doing something really harmful. Wow. 有的母亲很懂得孩子的贪心，孩子只做什么东西就要了，越哭哇哇，然后呢，母亲都会用另外一个东西，就说哦，你那个你放下，我给你这个，哦，孩子就放下，哦，追求那个东西。这是真的懂事情的母亲用她的爱心。我呢，我听到那个孩子在哭，我就想打，咔，这样子。不行，那个不是方便没有智慧就是 reaction 所以呢就是菩萨就像母亲知道怎么样让我们难舍能舍就会菩萨一切能舍那么当然这个是不是讲菩萨的能舍的心，就是能使自己的舍去自己的身体为利益众生，那是不同种，那个是更上一层楼。Now, for sure, the higher level of explanation of this particular Dharma would be the Bodhisattva who, for the sake of living beings, is able to give up their lives, give up their bodies, etc. But on a more practical level, we've got moms who are able to use kids' inability to let go of one shiny thing, or depending on the skill of the mom, she can really delude kids into being patient. If you are willing to eat your broccoli, we have some ice cream for you. Broccoli. Oh, you don't get any ice cream. All right. So 愿一切众生得无所谓，能说一切可爱要法。May all living beings attain fearlessness and be able to expound all delightful dharmas. Okay, by the way, for anybody who pays attention to this stuff, delete the alls. The alls don't help. They muffle the strength of the actual nouns, usually, that they precede. Okay, now, what is this? The Bodhisattva says, I'm going to give my merit and virtue so that I pray that living beings will get fearlessness, and because of their courage, they'll be able to expound delightful Dharma. Now, this is complicated because why does expounding dharmas require courage? How could delightful dharmas cause fear, is what's being said here. And he wants living beings to be able to attain that. Clearly, let's swap out the word delightful for truth. Truthful. It's because we get attached. Got a perfect story. Perfect story. We don't like to hear the truth. And sometimes skillful expounders of Dharma are cautious and hesitant to tell the truth because it's going to turn people off, right? 就说为什么菩萨法院就说希望说法的众生可以得到无所谓，讲法有什么可怕呢？是这个意思，听得懂吗？他的愿就说，我希望说一切法的讲法的人可以有勇猛心。这个道理跟可爱要的法有什么可怕呢？等一等，我讲给大家听，就是说，你懂得讲法，你有的时候不敢讲真实话，怕会得罪人，他们不想听。Okay. So if you are a skillful speaker of Dharma and you feel that you have to kind of tippy-toe around certain issues for fear that you're going to upset people or turn them off and they won't want to listen anymore, that's true. That can happen. Okay, I was in Los Angeles for the VegSource.com Healthy Lifestyle Expo, a weekend in LA. And I was there to represent religious communities for the gathering of the plant-based vegetarian doctors, which is what VegSource.com had become. They invited a couple religious people. I was there, and I was delighted to see Sister Gita from the Brahma Kumaris. Now, you all have to appreciate Sister Gita. She is, I don't know what Sister Gita's last name was, but she was a striking, tall, very perfect posture Buddhist, not a Buddhist nun. She's a Brahma Kumari nun. It's an offshoot of Hindu communities. And the Brahma Kumaris they're all female. They're women, not entirely. There are also brothers among them, but by and large, they're women. They have hundreds of thousands of devotees worldwide, and they are completely vegetarian in a way that they often carry their food whenever they leave their center to go out to do interfaith, because they can never, ordinary meals never satisfy their requirements. They eat very purely, to the point where first time I invited Sister Gita and Sister Chandru and Sister Elizabeth and to City of 10,000 Buddhas, they came carrying their prasad, carrying their lunch bags, and when they looked at the food, you could see they looked at each other. They said, "You put your food away. We can eat here." They said, "We're very happy to eat at City of 10,000 Buddhas. Your food is pure enough for us." So they didn't have to eat the food they brought. So here we are at the VegSource.com Healthy Lifestyle Expo in LA, and I had prepared a slideshow about the Hu Sheng Shi, the cherishing life poetry that lives in our Chinese community. People know Master Hong Yi and Feng Zikai, the artist, combined on veggie poetry and published books on generations of Hu Sheng Shi, life of protecting life, cherishing life poetry. That's what we call it, cherishing life poetry. And that was my talk. I didn't want to talk directly about our vegetarian plant-based practices because why? We don't eat onions and garlic. And most of the vegetarian plant-based community that had gathered in LA see nothing wrong with onions and garlic. And I didn't want to sound, you don't want to get those doctors looking at you and saying, "What's wrong with onions and garlic?" Well, from a Buddhist point of view, it's either desire or anger. It's like you want to talk positive. So I was cautious, and you could say a little afraid to tell the truth about our eating. And so I gave my presentation, and and people received it well. And then it was Sister Gita's turn. Sister Gita stood up and took the stage, and she's just, they're celibate nuns and Brahma Kumaris. They're very powerful. Sister Gita stands up and she says, "Well, you must understand that eating purely requires us to do without the pungent plants. One bite of anger is, one bite of onions is one thought of anger. One bite of garlic is another thought of desire. You must get rid of onions and garlic in your diet, or you will be beset with anger and desire, which you do not want." She said, it's like, and I'm like, there she goes. And because she's such a virtuous person and a strong speaker, everyone was there going, I see, maybe I should cut back on the onions and garlic. It was a great hit. And I went up to her afterwards. I said, "Sister Gita, you are fearless. I was afraid to say what you said." She said, "But you must tell the truth, of course. You can't hide it from living beings." And so, oh my goodness. So, bless her heart, she was fearless. And just like the Bodhisattva, may all living beings attain courage to speak about the lovable, adorable, delightful true dharmas. 就说参加这个素食会议，在洛杉矶有一个朋友叫 Sister Gita 修女，她是印度教的，他们的食物，他们的饮食跟我们汉传佛教的饮食一样，严格，他们到了万佛场就可以吃我们的饭。这些他们是穿白色的这个印度教的修女 Brahma Kumaris， 他们也是修梵行的跟我们差不多了。这个戒律。到了这个会议讲课，我是讲什么护生师，就弘一大师，还有那个丰子开那个，我介绍这些护生师讲了几首，他们点点头。我不敢说不要吃葱蒜，我觉得因为这些医生呢，他们很严格，他们 葱蒜没问题了。我如果要开始讲，哎呀，这要断语啊，要这样的，觉得不好，所以就不提了。等到 Sister Gita 轮到他了，他上台讲课，他说：“你们最好能不吃葱、洋葱啊，这个不吃大蒜呢，你就清净了。你吃了一口。”那个大蒜呐洋葱呢就不清净了，因为这位修女她非常有德行，而且呢她在那儿真的有威风，大家点点头说好了好了，我们可能要少吃一点呀，葱蒜呢。他就讲完了。他下台了，我说：“哎呀，Sister Gita，你敢讲我不敢讲的东西。”他说：“一定要讲真法，不要怕他们得罪了，一定要把那个真实的法讲清楚了。”我就点点头。对了，你说的很有道理，就像师父会这样说：“我不怕得罪什么人，我一定要讲真话。”啊，所以呢，就像我们的菩萨怎么说呢？愿一切众生得无所谓，能说一切可爱要法。May all living beings obtain fearlessness and be able to expound all delightful dharmas. Okay, there you go. Alrighty, guess what's up next? Oh my goodness, we have a story for you. Life of Xuanzang. I want to look back at this episode because it's this is unexpected. Master Xuanzang is where? He's in Kashmir, the country of Rasa, going southeast, climbing hills, iron bridges, 1,000 li. He gets to Kashmir. There it is, right there. OK， 玄奘大师呢，他就到了 Kashmir 这个地方，哪里呀？你看，阿富汗 Kabul， 继续往这边走，这是雪山这里，这是尼泊尔，这是印度，他现在就到这儿，这是一个山谷 Kashmir。So people see here's Kabul, Afghanistan, here's Nepal, here's India. This is Kashmir. It is a mountain valley. Kashmir 这个地方很特别的。Let me bring that up. Okay. 这是山谷，分了3个国家所控制，就印度，还有 Ladakh， 还有这个巴基斯坦。他们伊斯兰教跟印度教跟 Sikh 教来吵。It's controlled by 3 different countries, India, Pakistan, and Ladakh, and that area it is in contention. It's divided into 3, and there's always being fought over by Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs. So unfortunately, Kashmir now is a land of contention, warfare. So, but it was Buddhist when Master Xuanzang went through. 玄奘大师经过那里是佛教的国家，有个山谷那里。Later on, the Mughals took it over, but you can see it's a spectacularly beautiful place. And it's one of the most amazing parts is that it's not entirely cold. You can see snow year-round, but there's also green forests and amazing medicinal herbs that grow there. 就高山上就长白下雪，雪不融不化了。不过山谷里边都会长些药物啊，一些花果什么的。Okay. So now the story. That's where he is. What's the story? He came through and he found 100 monasteries and 5,000 monks and stupas built by King Ashoka. And the king came through, he got to the monastery and all the monks had a dream, a similar dream one night. And the Deva came to them and said, there's a guest coming from China, you better get up and cultivate so he has a good opinion because he is your good advisor. 就说到了这个地方，玄奘大师，看到有道场有5000个和尚，一个晚上，这些和尚都做同样一个梦，这个天人来了，就说你们有贵宾，他是从中国来的，他是一个大善知识，你们必须要起身用功修行。如果你们礼佛诵经，他都会留下来教你们。所以这些和尚起身了，就说打坐诵经啊，就回来告诉玄奘大师，他们都做他的梦。他们很崇拜他。So he continued, and the king and the ministers came out. 1,000 people holding banners and canopies, lighting incense, scattering flowers. 有1000个人跟着国王，还有那个文武百官都来了，烧香散花，带着那个旗杖啊，1000个人就欢迎大师那么国王就带来他们最大的一个像，就说你可以坐上面。So the king brought out their largest elephant to honor Master Xuanzang and said, please ride the elephant in. And he received offerings and he met Sangha Kirti, this 70-year-old elder teacher. And this was quite an honor. They treated him like a special guest. And the king, after offering him a meal, said, please speak Dharma. He did. The king was really happy. And he asked, are there any texts here? This was his mission. And the king said, I'm sorry. However, we will order 20 scribes to copy out our scriptures and commentaries and give them to you. 5 men were appointed as attendants and gave him everything he needed. That's thunder. There is a thunderstorm coming. 就说吃完了饭，大师讲法，他就因为到了印度来是要取经，他说有没有什么经书我可以看呢？就说没有了，对不起。然后国王马上说，吩咐20个人就誊写抄写经典供养他了，还有给他5个人当侍者。Okay, Sangha Kirti was a really strict cultivator. He was one of the best monks anywhere around. Deep thinker, many talents. He was a favorite. And he was introduced to the master, and Master Xuanzang respected him and started to study from Sangha Kirti, ask him all kinds of questions. And the elder monk said, this is a talented student. I'm going to teach him everything I know. So by day and by night, Master Xuanzang would come and request Dharma. The king was 70 years old and very elderly and tired, but he saw this was a special teacher, a special student, so he taught him without rest. 就这个叫生称法师，是老年人，70多岁，已经很弱了因为玄奘大师呢，就请法诚恳地来请，所以这个善知识就打起精神，就不停着答复他的问题，早晚都不停在那儿讲经说法。It specified that he explained the Abhidharma Kosha, the Abhidharma Nyayanusara, and the Hetuvidya text and the Shabdavidya text. He just really taught everything that they had, and invited all the scholars in the country to come and listen, a special event. 所以这个大德他早上、中午、晚上都讲这些经书，还有律藏所有的国家里边的学者都来参加了。And the more the elder master taught, the more Master Xuanzang demonstrated that he could hold it all. He understood everything. The old teacher was really happy. And he said, this is a smart monk. Nobody in this country can compare with him. He is a worthy successor of the great Indian Shastra masters. 这个无论这个高僧讲什么，玄奘大师都能领受，都能接受，都能记得，然后说回来。这个大德，这个桑格基蒂他就赞叹他说：“我这个国家没有谁比他聪明，可惜啊，如果他年轻都可以来，我可以教他多一点。” Okay, we are. I'm repeating the section that we have covered before, but I wanted to give the whole encounter in the country of Kashmir with Master Xuanzang. Time is up. I don't like to go over at CTTB because they need to recite their mantra heart. So we'll stop here and continue next week with more of the encounter with the monks of Kashmir. He stayed for 2 years. 玄奘大师为什么住2年呢？因为那个地方的因缘就是因为他的来印度的目的就在那边就达到了。Okay, let's dedicate merit and move on to next week. Here we go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And we'll bow to the Buddhas. We have chirping of birds to accompany us. Okay, you ready to bow? 我们向佛三问讯礼。Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, that'll do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week. Amitofo. Bye now.